All right, guys. So our next topic here today is something that we talk about a lot, but we have to bring it up because we've mentioned it numerous times. We never knew that this movie was going to happen. It was like 6 to 9 years ago. We joke about, but I really do think at this point we're probably approaching that six year mark, if at the very least, of when our boy Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson was announced to play Black Adam. Well, it's finally official. They have indeed confirmed that they are shooting. They got their like, what do they call these things again? I completely forget.
Clappers?
They're cut.
Yeah.
I forget what they're actually called. It sounds bad for someone who does a show about movies and stuff. But either way, they got it here. It's happening. It's happening. So I really don't have much to say other than the fact that it happened before the Flash movie. Think about that. Both of those movies have been the two DC movies in particular, but just movies in general that were kind of promised, announced, like, oh, it's going to happen, and then it never happens. But this one's finally happening. And then I've said it before too, but after DC fandom, this movie shot up, just kind of like the Loki trailer did. Like, for the longest time of the Disney Plus Marvel shows, Falcon and Winter Soldier was always my most anticipated because Winter Soldier is one of my favorite MCU characters. But as soon as that Disney press conference, whatever, the investors called, meeting they had, where they unveiled all the shows and dropped all these trailers, that very first Loki trailer made that show jumped to my most anticipated, and ever since. And it just keeps happening too, with even the most recent trailer. That's still the number one. But either way, this is about Black Adam. John, what do you think about this? It's finally happening. You got any thoughts on this?
Woo!
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'm glad that that they've, put some scenes to film or tape, or I guess memory at this point. We no longer use tape or
Yeah.
film. Yeah, I mean, I'm ecstatic that it's happening. I think The Rock is I can't think of a better choice to play the character.
True.
So yeah, that's I've been looking forward to this for a long time, and I'm hopefully down to the wire now, or there's a light at the end of the tunnel as far as waiting for this movie to be out. I do worry that, not to wish ill will on anybody, or put bad karma out there in the world, but I do worry that DC has spent some of The Rock's prime years kind of
Right.
messing around with what they're doing. Like, I mean, we should have had a Black Adam movie 5 years ago, and we should be talking about a sequel, or even a third film in a
Shazam and Black Adam movie.
Shazam and Black, exactly. We should be talking about those in 2021, not, oh, thank God we're finally getting a Black Adam movie. So yeah, while I'm super happy, it's also bittersweet in the fact that you think about what could have been, with the DC universe and with The Rock and Black Adam. So we'll see. I hope that people are excited about it. I think that The Rock's name alone will draw plenty of attention to it, because honestly, I don't think a lot of people have the first clue who Black Adam is in terms of the general public.
Oh yeah. I
And
mean, look how good Shazam did in theaters. I mean, it barely made any money, and it was like the best DCEU movie since Man of Steel.
yeah,
Like,
and the same goes for the JSA. Like, there are components of this movie that make me just overwhelmed with excitement and joy at the fact that I'm getting to see these characters. But really am, I'm well aware of the fact that for the general audience, these names don't mean anything, and it's going to be on them to promote the movie properly and for The Rock to really draw in people. But I hope they do, and I hope that it does very well, so that we do get sequels and we don't have to wait, 5, 6, 7, 8 years for them, as we're currently in the holding pattern for a movie like Man of Steel. I mean, if this movie comes out and does Man of Steel business, are we then, resigned to the fact that we're going to have to wait for Warner Brothers to, I don't know, blank or get off the pot when it comes to making a sequel for it? I just, as with everything to do with Warner Brothers and DC these days, there's a good side and a bad side to it, and and I'm just holding out hope that this falls on that good side. So we'll see.
I mean, we live in a world where Shazam is getting a sequel, and it made
True.
less than $400 million, but Man of Steel never got a sequel,
Yeah.
and it made just shy of $800 million.
Yeah.
So it was between 6 and 8. I can't remember which one it is, but Man of Steel is the best. I don't care what anybody says. That's the best DC movie to date. Like, at least DCU. I'm not gonna say it's better than like a Dark Knight or anything like that, but
Sure. Post Dark Knight series.
it's the best.
Yeah.
Like, to this day. And then Shazam and Wonder Woman after that, I don't know. They kind of jump places. But yeah, it's still baffling that we live in a world where we get Shazam 2, we don't get Man of Steel 2. Like, it's so weird. But I got 2 words for this movie, man. Dr. Fate. That's
Yeah.
it. Like, that's all I care about. And freaking Pierce Brosnan's playing Dr. Fate on top of it. So it's like even made me more excited to see Dr. Fate in the movie. Because I love Dr. Fate. He's so much cooler than Doctor Strange. He's so much cooler. I mean, they're kind of like the same kind of 2 coins, right? On the Marvel and DC side. But the Dr. Fate lore is just like super. I just wonder how much they're gonna go into the JSA stuff. Because that was like the biggest shock out of fandom, is that like it's not just a Black Adam movie. Because that, for the longest time, I was like, what are they gonna do with this movie? Because like he's not really an anti-hero. Like they try to make him out to be, and that's what they're obviously going to do, because The Rock's playing him, and you can't really have just. I mean, you can. I mean, Joker worked, but you don't really have a movie that's just like the villain the whole time. And that's like, even Joker was not really a movie about the Joker going and killing people. It was about how a man can turn into someone like the Joker.
Yeah.
But with this, I was always just like, what are they even going to do with this if Shazam's not in it for the most part? And so, I mean, having the JSA in there completely took me off guard, made me much more hyped for it, and actually gave the movie like a clear direction to go that kind of made sense, to where you can have Black Adam be like the bad guy for a while and have like a logical turn to goodness, a come to Jesus moment for him, even though Black Adam really shouldn't have a come to Jesus moment, but he may not. We'll just have to wait and see. But I don't know. What do you think they're gonna do with that? You think in the end of this movie he's gonna be like a good guy, or you think he's gonna be a bad guy?
I think he's going to be one of those.
Like a Venom?
Yeah. He's going to be. I hate to use the term anti-hero, because I feel like it's more complex than that, or at least if it's done well, it's more than that. He's going to be, his motivations are going to be right. It's going to be the way he goes about,
like a Thanos.
Yeah, the way he goes about getting what he wants
Punisher.
out of things. I have loved The Rock since WWF, WWE days, way back when, like when he was, the heel in the WWE, and they would try and make him do things that people wouldn't like, and people just loved him more and more for it.
Right.
Like, I mean, that's where obviously he got his roots, and his popularity took off from, because he was the biggest name in wrestling for a good 5-year stretch there. Before
the most
he left.
electrifying man.
Most electrifying, exactly.
It actually has meaning now. He's freaking
wow, yeah, literally the
thought?
most electrifying. And so I've always loved the guy, and then he obviously went and started doing more and more films, and his films have always been entertaining. The quality of them has fluctuated from time to time, but he's always been. I thought he's always been pretty good in everything he's done and stuff. And he seems like just a really good guy in general. He does a lot for people to help people out that he doesn't even know and stuff. And so he's always been kind of this guy that I've always kind of looked up to, and I think is a good role model for people to look up to. And I've also heard recently that he is a big proponent of there being a Man of Steel 2, and that he would like Black Adam to face Henry Cavill's Superman at some point on film.
Oh, yeah.
And I tell you what, if he is responsible for getting Henry Cavill back into the cape and getting him back into a DCEU movie, he will jump even higher up on my list of people that I admire and hold in higher esteem, because that is something that I want more than just about anything else in entertainment nowadays. And I'm kind of hoping that he can pull that off.
Well, that's the thing too. Like, one of the reasons for that too is because The Rock and Henry Cavill have the same agent.
Oh, okay.
So if there's gonna be any like anybody who could sway that into happening, it would be The Rock. I was like, they have yeah, they have the same agent, so I mean they have the
Sure.
same connections. But what I want to see more than anything is was it a Black Adam or a Shazam movie? I can't remember, but they're in the movie. It was an animated movie. Like Shazam has to go up against Black Adam, but Superman's there, and he the Superman movie, like Superman versus Black Adam, or I forget what it was, but Black Adam was bad guy, but it was like Shazam had to like end up being the one to defeat Black Adam, and
Mhm.
but Superman was there and kind of gave him like a pep talk, and he was like, "You can do it, dude. Like whatever. Like I want to see that happen.
Yeah.
I want that movie. I want the movie where Shazam has to take down Black Adam and Superman is there to guide, Billy along,
Yeah.
like, and say, like, you can do it, dude," like, whatever. And that's what I always thought was weird is now we have the Shazam family, so kinda I don't know if we're really gonna be able to get that because that should have been a later thing. I don't know. That's a whole other story, but I want that damn movie. I want that movie. That'd
Yep.
be good. So, question is, guys, what do you think about this? Are you excited to see that this movie is finally happening? I think I'm more surprised that it's happening in general, sure, but even before the Flash movie, I think that's quite surprising. But are you looking forward to it? Are you looking forward to the JSA being involved and Doctor Fate and all that stuff? Because that's what I'm hyped about. Whatever you think, let us know down
Well,
in the comment
eh,
section below. What's
I'm
up?
just gonna throw this. I know we kind of just did a wrap up there, but I'm gonna throw this out there
Do it.
because this is gonna be this is gonna be our kicking off point for whatever the DCEU is. Basically, I mean, we haven't had a DCEU movie. Well, I guess Wonder Woman 84, but Wonder Woman
It's so
80.
disjointed. It's
Yeah,
disconnected.
exactly. Wonder Woman 84 and both and Aquaman, are those the most recent two?
Yeah. Well,
Yeah, those
Shazam.
and Shazam. All of those have been self-contained. And with
Shazam did have that Superman appearance, though. It
true,
was
but
the most connected out of Aquaman and Wonder Woman 84, especially.
true.
Aquaman had the one line about Justice League, so it was even more connected than the other ones.
But this is really blowing out the universe because you're
Oh,
bringing the
yeah.
JSA. You're bringing multiple characters in, and they're not coming in just as cameos at the end of the movie. They're coming in as actual plot points, story. They're going to be part of the plot, part of the story. So it's going to be interesting to see what this does, whether or not it establishes or reestablishes or ties in with the DCEU in general or a DC cinematic universe, or if this is just a one-off and they keep the JSA and the Black Adam characters in their own kind of section. So anyway, we hadn't mentioned that part of it. I was thinking about that earlier. Was how is this going to either establish or not establish or tie into any kind of big, you know, because then we are going into the Flash after that and Flashpoints, which supposedly deals with the multiverse and all that. And I'm very curious how that's all going to work out.
No, it's true because I can't remember if it's been 100% confirmed, but like, did they say this is going to be taking place in the 80s?
I don't remember that. It could be.
Or
I
even
don't.
like even before that, maybe because the JSA is involved, so everybody assumed it was going to be like a prequel thing.
Sure.
Obviously, like it's taking place like maybe even in the 50s or 60s. But I don't know. It's going to be interesting what they do because are they just going to say that this is in modern day, and then now we have the JSA as a
Mm.
part of this current DCEU continuity, or what? Because I am curious to see what happens from that because then we do have the Flash coming, which who knows where the hell that's going with the multiverse stuff, and then Walter Hamada and all them saying that they're looking at all their movies as being a part of a multiverse in general. So I mean, the Flash, even though it's the most connected to the previous DCEU stuff, could very well end up being the most disconnected
Yeah.
because they can take it in so many directions. So
Well, we could
I don't
also
know.
have a well-established JSA. By the time after this movie comes out, we could have a well-established JSA for DC on film, but a completely non-existent JLA.
Right, which is
It's
weird.
or I guess they would drop the A, but Justice League and Justice Society, which
Yeah.
would be odd.
It would be very weird, but I don't know. I I'm just glad this movie's being made,
Yeah.
like, in general. Like, and it's so hard to say where they're gonna it's DC, it was what's Warner Brothers' DC film universe, like, I don't even know it's like its own obscure thing at this point. 'Cause
Yeah.
like I said, it's so strange that we're even in a world where Shazam gets a sequel before Man of Steel and it didn't do as well, so it's like, well, what is your freaking what is making you want to make a sequel to a movie at that point? Because it's
Yeah.
not financial gains. Like, it's like Shazam was more critically well received, but you normally only care about money. So it's
Yeah.
like you'd think you'd just make a Man of Steel 2, especially since you've had Henry show up in 2 other movies, 3 technically, if you want to count Snyder Cut. It's just weird, man. It's just
Well, that's the
weird.
part that drives me nuts too, is like there's this idea out there I've heard presented that they're trying to move away from the Snyder vision of stuff and that's one of the reasons that Henry hasn't been secured or brought in to do another one, is because he's so tied to the Snyder version of stuff. But they're keeping Gal and they're keeping Jason Momoa, and like what those guys, they're intrinsically tied to the Snyderverse stuff. Like, fine, if you want to disavow all the Snyder Justice League and the BVS and whatever, and you want to start your own thing, that's fine. But there's no reason you can't bring Henry Cavill back and have him continue playing Superman.
It's absurd, especially since he wants to do it.
Yeah.
You got a guy who willingly wants to do it, and despite people not liking Man of Steel and all that stuff,
yes,
they still like him in the role.
Yes.
Like 90% of everybody likes him in the role. And if they have a problem with the movie, they're like, but he's still good as Superman. Like,
I guarantee no matter if they whatever they do next with Superman, if it's not a Henry Cavill film, whoever they bring out is going to be compared to Henry Cavill. And I can't think of a single person that they're going to find that is going to be like, oh, well, okay, he's better. No, that's just not going to happen.
It's not. I will give credit to that Tyler Hoechlin kid on the CW, though, because he really came into, like, I buy that he is a version of Superman.
Yes.
Even though his muscle suit's a bit much. Like, I'd be like, it's a bit much. It's a bit obvious. But I think they're doing a good job on that show. I think it's good. So
I agree.
That being said, let us know what you think about this down in the comment section. Do you think Henry Cavill's ever going to get his sequel? Do you think he's going to appear in this movie? Let us know down in the comment section below.